I went 4-1 with the complimentary plays last Saturday in college football, 87 and 62 roll with complimentary plays in all sports dating back to last season. I've got 5 big plays for this Saturday college football card coming up. Hi, everyone. Al DeMarco here, general manager of DeMarcoSports.com. As I always like to tell you, I don't do these video reports every single day, so the easiest way to be alerted to when I will have a video report is to simply subscribe. Yes, that little button down there in the corner, subscribe, and you'll never miss another video report. And FYI, I will have a Sunday NFL video report for you. And keep in mind that over the past 5 weeks, I'm on a 12-6 run with the NFL complimentary plays as well. So subscribe down there in the corner. And again, I've got 5 complimentary plays coming your way here for college football. Hey, before I get to this complimentary plays, something came along in my news feed a couple of days ago, and just let me relate a kind of an interesting, cute story, I think. I saw something run by about Vince McMahon, and you know who Vince McMahon is, wrestling, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go into his background or what the story is because it's kind of inconsequential. But as a kid, growing up in Philadelphia, it was Superpower Channel 48, the UHF channel. I remember at 10 o'clock on Saturday mornings, they used to have wrestling, a half-hour program. And I think most of the time it was in black and white. But I remember one time watching with my father, and I think it was Chief Jay Strongbow. He was tagging into the match, and somebody whacked him over the head with a metal folding chair. And you could hear the announcer say, "Oh, my God," about how devastating this was and what a bloody scene it was. And suddenly they put a big black X over the screen. And you couldn't see what was going on, but the announcers were talking about it, what a bloody, gory scene it was. And I'm thinking to myself, even as a kid, my God, that is so damn impressive how they're magnifying the gore by not showing it to you. And these guys, I'm thinking to myself, they're probably sitting there just having a Coke and a cigarette, right? So I could care less really about wrestling back then because I was only watching the show because at 10:30 in the morning, they had the roller derby coming on. The Philadelphia Warriors, Dave Pound, and Big Jim Trotter, and Judy Arnold. I mean, roller derby was real. Wrestling was fake. I could care less about that. I was there for roller derby. So fast forward to a number of years later. I'm working at the Philadelphia Spectrum, working for a company called Prism, which was the predecessor to Comcast Sports, which is now Xfinity or whatever the hell they're called now, or NBC Sports Universal, I guess. And I type really, really fast. Okay, I type over 140 words a minute. And for live events that they had at the Spectrum, where you had to enter everything for the video screens prior to the performances or the sporting events, etc., they had me enter them into this machine called a Chiron, so everything would display on the video boards. Because again, I type so damn fast. So they were having a wrestling event that night, and I had all the winners. Yes, I had all the winners. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The event was like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. I'm going up to the booth to enter all the stuff in, and I happen to pass some big name NBA star, and I won't name who he is, and he had his couple of kids with him and stuff. And we're just talking in the bowels of the Spectrum, and he asked me what I'm doing, and I said, I'm going up and I'm going to enter tonight's winners. You would have thought I told him that there was no Santa Claus and that the Easter Bunny was just shot in the parking lot. It just blew my mind that he didn't know that, like, Big Bob Backlund was going to win tonight's match. And I had the 13 results of all the matches already in advance. I mean, it was like a cluster. I can't say that word, but you know what I mean. It just blew my mind anyway, that this guy that played professional basketball didn't know wrestling was fake. Hey, listen, I still don't know how it gets big ratings and people go to the damn matches anyway. But anyway, it's entertainment. So with that being said, that's your cute story for today. Let's get to your complimentary plays. Let's run them down. Listen, I know everybody and their brother wants to know who is going to win the Ohio State-Penn State game. Damned if I know. All I know is if Lou Holtz is probably saying, hey, Ryan Day, I called you out. You better win this damn game. I guess I would probably go with Ohio State. Minus the 4.5, you know I'm going to tell you to buy down the half point. Listen, Ohio State has dominated the series, winning 6 in a row. They've only covered one of those 6 games. They barely won at Notre Dame. They beat Maryland, but that was a game that Maryland was up in the third quarter. But who have the Lions played? Beat Iowa 31-10 at home, beat West Virginia in their home opener. Now they have covered 13 in a row, dating back to last season. The one thing that worries me about Penn State in this game is this is not an offense that has many explosive plays. And by that, I mean plays that have gone for over 10 yards or more, either through the air or on the ground. This is a very pedestrian offense under the direction of a first year starting quarterback that's going to be playing on the road in a big pressure situation. I just wonder if they're going to be able to get the job done. And Ohio State's defense is not nearly as good as Penn State's, but has Penn State's defense really been tested this year by the likes of Iowa, West Virginia, and a bunch of nobodies? That's why I'm leaning toward Ohio State in this contest. Again, I'll go with Ohio State and reluctantly lay the points in this spot. Georgia Tech has certainly been fortunate, have they not? After that miraculous finish against Miami of Florida, but a week before, as a 21-point favorite, of course, they lost at home to Bowling Green. So, go figure. Boston College coming off consecutive wins at home against Virginia and then at Army, both by field goal margins, both teams coming off byes. Georgia Tech -4.5 at home. Did that win against Miami give them any momentum? I'm going to go with the Yellow Jackets here. And again, a 4.5-point spread. I'm going to buy down here on the Yellow Jackets. Next game, UCLA, -17 against Stanford. Do we give Stanford props for coming back and beating Colorado in Boulder in double overtime? Or do we give them demerits for the fact that they were down 29-0 at half to Deion Sanders' team and outgained 324-115 in the first half of that contest? I say it's a mixture of both. I think that this is a team that UCLA can dominate. Yes, they're coming off a 36-24 loss at Oregon State. Yes, they lost 14-7 at Utah. Yes, their freshman quarterback Dante Moore was pathetic against the Beavers, 15 for 34, 3 interceptions, 168 yards. Has he been intercepted in 3 straight games on the opening drive? Has he completed only 51% of his passes with 10 touchdowns and 7 interceptions on the season? Yes, yes, yes. But UCLA does something Colorado doesn't do. It plays defense. Yeah, it really does. And this is a Stanford team that has allowed 19 sacks the past 4 weeks. And let's face it, Palo Alto is a lot easier to play in terms of a football environment than Corvallis or Salt Lake City. So I think Moore's going to have an easier time. And I'm looking for Chip Kelly's team to rebound big in this spot. You want to talk about another team that needs to rebound in the Pac-12? That would be USC. A couple of weeks ago, we were anointing Williams, the quarterback for USC, as the next Heisman winner, hands down, and now he's coming off 2 bad games in a row. I mean, let's face it, they did win in 3 overtimes at home against Arizona, but Williams was only 14 for 24, 210 yards and 1 touchdown. Then he had the really bad game in the 48-20 loss at Notre Dame, 23 for 37, 199 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. But now they're in double revenge at home against Utah. Remember, they lost in the regular season last year and then in the Pac-12 championship game. In the Pac-12 championship game, that's where Williams was injured as well. You've got a Utah team that last week they beat California, big deal, 34-14 at home. They started another quarterback, Bryson Barnes, who played well, 15 for 21, 128 yards, 8 carries, 50 yards rushing. They finally got their running game going by going to a lot of wild card formations and direct snaps. And who powered that running game? Their starting safety. Now going 2 ways. Who had 159 yards rushing. Yeah, I don't think that's a long-term formula for success here. I'm going to go with USC in double revenge, and I'm going to take them in this spot. By the way, the dog has covered 6 of the last 7 in the series. USC is a 7-point favorite. I'm going to go with them, buy down the half point. I think USC, by the way, if you're looking for a team to put in a teaser, 2-team, 7-point teaser, the Trojans, ring them up. Take them pick them at home. I also like Ole Miss -6.5 at Auburn. I know, I'm just going to tell you up front, I know the Rebels have not beaten Auburn in back-to-back seasons in 70 years. Hasn't happened since 1951-52. Okay? I get it. I understand. But listen, they're coming off a bye. They're coming off wins against LSU 55-49 and Arkansas 27-20 at home. They're 5-1. Their only loss came at Alabama by 14 points, a game that they were up 7-6 at halftime. Auburn, off a home loss last week, crushed by LSU 48-18, outgained 563 to 293. That LSU defense gives up points by a bushelful, and yet Auburn couldn't do a damn thing against them. Their quarterback, Peyton Thorne, continues to struggle, 12 for 23, 102 yards against a bad LSU defense. I don't care the fact that this is another ex team that Hugh Freeze coached. I like Ole Miss here, minus the 6.5 points. And again, I'm buying down the half point in that one. And your final selection is going to be Tulane minus the 20 at home against North Texas. Do not be deceived by North Texas's double-digit blowout rout of Temple. Keep in mind the Temple starting quarterback, E.J. Warner, did not play last week, so that 45-14 win, big deal. Tulane's coming off the win last Friday at Memphis when they rallied in the second half from 11 down to win that 31-21, 5-1 on the season. The only game they lost, their senior quarterback, Michael Pratt, did not play in that contest. And Pratt on the season, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception, completing almost 80% of his passes. I will go ahead and lay the 20 points with Tulane in that spot. If you're asking me among all those plays what my favorite one is, I got to tell you, none of them really stand out. There's not one that is screaming head and shoulders above all the others. I would say that probably in the top tier, believe it or not, Jesus, Ohio State, along with UCLA, and probably the last one in that top tier, and boy, it's really tough to pick it. It would probably be the last team in the top tier would probably be, believe it or not, Tulane, even though it's a 20-point favorite. Those would be the top tier selections. Again, Ohio State, UCLA, and Tulane. And then in that second tier of plays, I would go ahead and put Mississippi, along with your play on, I'm going to go with Georgia Tech. Yeah, I'll throw that in the second tier as well. Yeah, Georgia Tech. I mean, I'm not totally sold on Georgia Tech. Of probably all the plays today, Georgia Tech would probably be the bottom of the barrel. And again, USC would also be in that second tier too. So there you go. I actually had 6 plays today, not 5. I wish you well, guys. Best of luck to you, and talk to you again with the Sunday NFL video report. Good luck, everybody.